All right, so this I got a question for y'all because during that rant that Cardi B had today against Joe Budden, she she made a point that I thought was very interesting. She said, "I'm not going to be like other artists and hold it inside. I'm going to speak my mind and say what I got to say because I'm not going to go crazy and I'm not going to get on
Right.
drugs, get addicted to
It's true.
drugs." What's your take
That's
on that?
true.
I appreciate her honesty, but at the same time, like, you not, you know what I'm saying, you can state your opinion, but at the same time, you sitting up in your mansion in Calabasas in the hills, wherever the fuck you at, you're not going to be affected as many people who don't have what you have if Donald Trump is elected in office. So you can say what you want about Joe Biden, but at the same time, you came from that, but you right now you are detached from that.
Not Joe Biden.
I
I
mean,
We're
think,
not talking about Joe Biden. We're talking about Joe Budden.
yeah, I
oh,
think so Frank,
What is going on?
Stop
so Frank,
playing.
so
Stop
Frank to
sorry,
playing.
my bad.
So Frank, to answer your question, I honestly, that's one of the most things I love about Cardi. I can relate to her. You know, as a Libra, we can be super nice and super sweet, but we can hold on to a lot of shit. But sometimes enough is enough. And one thing about an air sign, no matter if you're an Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra, once
Period.
it's done, and we're gonna let you have it, and we're gonna come with receipts, and we're gonna spare you. We're gonna give you some grace and ease, but after a while, it's like enough. And so
And
that's why I appreciate about Cardi B, because I know her, what you want to call it, ranting, her spazzing out, or whatever the case may be, however you want to categorize her expressing her feelings authentically through spaces or social media, whatever it happens to be, is coming from a place of, I'm fed up and I'm just going to be real and tell y'all. And that's what we fell in love with her. We fell in love with her because she is authentic, because she's genuine. She has that same, similar thing why we fell in love with some other artists, because we get a sense of who they are. So that's my take on Cardi, and why I feel like she said what she said, and she should stand on that for
well,
sure.
people seem to tend to like you more when they feel like when they can control your actions or control you. So, like when Cardi first got in this industry, she started on what was it? New York Loving, what was it? Loving Hip Hop? Loving Hip Hop, right? Everybody loved her on there until she said, you know what, I'm done. I did what I need to do. And then it's like, okay, well, I can't control what she's doing. So now I don't care for her, but she's still a human. At the end of the day, she's still a human being. Just like we express how we feel about our jobs and what we do. And we go to work and we want to do this and do that. Cardi's still a human and her job is making an album. But you know what? I'm not going to put it out when people want me to put it out. I'm going to put it out when I know it's right. When I feel like it's correct. She's getting bullied. People are literally bullying her, and it affects her. And that's why she said, "I'm gonna say what I gotta say because that shit goes to my mental. That shit's make me want to drink, make me want to do drugs. That shit is real, and I know people who have experienced that. So that's why I say I think it's okay for her to go on her rants. If she gotta get it out, shit, get it out. It's just like speaking to a therapist.
But the thing is now she's being known for those because she only has one album out. She's
But
replying to 4 out of every 5 people that attack her. She's not just, I understand that she's human, but she's also a very famous celebrity. She's Cardi B. She don't need to reply to every single person that says something bad. Imagine if all the celebrities do that every time they go on Twitter. And she has a thing that she does where she literally, I don't know if she searches her name, but most of the stuff that she replied to, they don't even add her. They probably just type her name and she finds it.
no, but people, you can, I mean, people, you can do that too. But I also think that people retweet and put her in the tweet because shit, people have done
I
that to
feel
Well,
me.
like it's also,
she should just know that she's Cardi B and she don't have to reply to everything.
Well, tell Nikki that too.
well,
Yeah, and it's also,
okay.
but who does it more though?
Nikki.
I feel like
No,
this whole celebrity culture and this personality like culture is really ruining art and ruining these art forms
It's social
and
media.
making it
It's
hard for
social
actual
media.
artists, people who actually are building their craft. I'm not
It's
gonna bash nobody in particular, but I'm just saying.
it's social media because when we didn't have this type of access to celebrities, it wasn't like this. We had hopes of going on that show where we could meet our celebrity favorite person, but we have too much access
Mm-hmm.
to the celebrities, and so we feel like we're entitled to having opinions on what the fuck they're doing.
and that's
Like
why Brandy posts her Stella Rosa and
and go drink her
Come
Stella
on.
Rosa. She
Right,
posts
because
it and go drinks it. Fuck
Marcus
y'all.
just
I
don't
that's
got
still
time
right.
for all of that. It's too much. It's like, no, like nobody got time for that. Like, hello, how y'all doing? Okay, good
Yeah,
night.
like like I go back and forth with this because we came from an era. Well, not maybe not
Well,
everybody.
I
There are
did,
some
not me.
younger people. We come from an era in the '90s where artists were very prime and proper, very
Not look
Mm-hmm.
here.
image conscious, not really going out the box, which is part of the reason of Whitney. I don't want to say that's part of the reason. Yeah, I would say it's part of the reason she got on drugs. She was trying to find
Fit
a
into a box.
Right.
right, trying to
Yeah.
escape from that whole. I can't even be me. I can't be myself.
People want to
Mm-hmm.
control me.
So now we have an artist like Cardi who's literally the complete opposite of proper image. And I don't think we know how to, well, I don't want to say we, some people don't know how to digest that or accept it. And then on the flip side, if you talking shit to me on my page, why can't I just clap back at you? Like, bitch, who are
Right.
you?
It's my shit where I got to check at. So I'm gonna check you. Like
But
she should be able to respond.
the problem is, I feel like the problem is they don't like none of these artists go to media training anymore. Like they got publicists and that's it. But yo,
Gone are the days when you pick up your pen and put it on the record.
Ooh.
That's true too. But like someone said, it's social media. It's a different age now. Like
The talent's
everybody
gone.
just,
Well,
you could
keep in mind
literally,
that
I don't mean that. I'm saying you could literally tweet anybody and be like, you, you effing bald headed,
yeah,
blah,
because I
blah,
told
blah,
that
blah.
girl earlier who was been talking shit to Cardi to shut the fuck up. I don't know her, but I told her to shut the fuck up.
You know what's crazy, Frank? Everyone like comes at Cardi and talks about this one album, this one, oh, her last album, oh, all this. You know,
She
what's
got a
so
Grammy.
funny? What's so funny is that album, right, from 2018 is still the most successful female rap album in the last 6 years. Like
Mm-hmm.
it still is. It literally still is. Like, and so like that's like Cardi B's invasion of privacy. To put this in perspective, is like her MJ Thriller, right? Like think about the pressure that Michael had to come back after you've literally had your most groundbreaking body of work to date. And so I think people really don't understand that or whatever. But at the end of the day, I don't think her ranting or anything is going to affect her album and her rollout. I think people that genuinely rock with Cardi is going to rock with her, and also, with her music, and depending on, I mean, well, obviously we have to see what sound this album is going to be, but it's packaged where it's going to be, different genres. I mean, Cardi B is not, I think what she has over, some of the other rap girlies, it's not just one sound, right? It's not just one type of genre of music that are going to get people excited. She's going to have pop in there, some type of dance in there. She's going to have some Latin influence in there. She's going to have a little bit of trap in there. She's going to have a little bit of club in there, right? So it's like a fusion. And so that's what I really hope this next album will have, but in her own CB2 way.
And taking it back to what you said about the Thriller and the expectation, we could go to Lauryn Hill. She only put out one
Yep.
album.
Mm-hmm.
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 Is it fair to compare her to these black women who actually like have
Who,
talent and
Lauryn
write?
Hill?
Like
Mm-mm. Who,
she has a
Lauryn
whole
Hill?
team of people making
I
these albums for her, and I don't listen to her music, so I can't even really go in. But I know she don't write it. So
Who?
like, is that fair?
but wait,
Who
wait,
we
wait,
talking
wait,
about,
wait, wait,
Lauren?
wait. But how do you
Party.
wait,
Cardi.
wait, 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 wait. But how do you really know she doesn't write?
Because people
For the people who say she don't write, how do
I
you
don't.
know?
I didn't say it.
First of all, she can't talk English in the first place.
What they got to do? What they got to mean? Some people
What that got to do with writing a song?
you
Well,
got
I
to know.
can tell you this.
I don't have to know how to read or write for me to sit here and sing a song for
Hello,
you.
because I wait a minute. Say it again, Frank. Say it again.
You didn't hear me?
No, I can hear you. I just want to say it again because you don't have to learn how to read or
Oh,
write to know how to sing. You can have vocals to know how to sing and know how to write shit or read shit.
Yeah, I know she wrote Bodak
I
Yellow, and
mean,
that's still the
look,
best-selling solo rap song ever.
they say R.
Sell the
Kelly could
sell.
read, and he done wrote
I
all
mean,
them
Brandy
hits.
ain't write all her shit. So what's the
So
point?
I feel like
She's
she's really
talented though.
pressured. She's pressured about this second album because the first one did so good,
Who
and I
would
feel
it
like
be?
that's what, huh?
Who would it be?
Hello.
Yeah,
That's the
and
it's
I
that
feel like
soft
that's
it's
why it's
that
taking so
sophomore
long.
jinx.
I think I think at this point it ain't even the pressure. It's more of the, you know what, fuck y'all. Y'all not gonna force me to put some shit out just because you want it now. I'm gonna put it when I want to put it.
But let's also keep in mind that since the album came out, she
With a
also
little bit
had
of
two
pressure, but yeah,
kids. She also has gave us features.
that's true.
It's a part
Yeah.
of. It's just like Rihanna. Rihanna put out all these albums and then had two kids. She said, "Fuck that, I'm having a family." That's what Cardi's doing. Cardi's building a family. So you gotta
And
remember,
still putting
they still
features
doing
because
features.
there's a feature coming out. I mean, didn't it come
Actually,
out
it is. I
today?
need to
Oh,
Yeah,
today's
actually, yeah,
Thursday.
it's out right now.
So, like,
Yeah.
you got to respect that people, even though they're celebrities and we want another album from them and you think they need to go release it, she still is a person and has to have a life outside of releasing an album. Because if she financially good not to release nothing else, she ain't got to release nothing else.
You good. Right. That's what I'm about
Like,
to say.
why release it? If I want to release it, I ain't got to release shit.
Okay.
But for my fans, I'm going to do it. Right? So, and I'm going to do it when I want to. Y'all ain't dragging Rihanna like that. That heifer ain't released the album in I don't know how long.
And you got to give credit
18,
to somebody who
20
dropped one
years.
album and 6 years later, people still talking about that artist without a new album. There's not a lot of people who
Joe
can
Say that
say
Budden
that.
just
again,
ain't.
That's
Frank.
where
Joe
the
Budden just ain't.
comparison is weird though, because it's like
Which comparison?
to compare saying things like that for a person, a performer like Cardi B, like
Comparing to what?
to other artists, like people who have especially black artists who have a different trajectory and experience, like in the industry and with consumers. Like Cardi has a whole fan base of people who come from other cultures that are just happy to see that she's a person from their cultures or from their ethnicities or whatever the case may be that's actually in this space. Like
So
she
I don't.
has, white artists who, love anything damn near close to them. So it's just like, it's a different experience. It's a different kind of, I think,
Well,
thing
I
than
don't
saying,
think that.
when you're talking about sales in particular.
I mean, no, because then if you look at Lauryn Hill, I mean, let's look at that album. I mean, it was just 20 something years later, still done, Apple Music called it the greatest album of all time. And let them
Absolutely
tell it,
deserving.
people 30 years, 30, from what it was it, from 18 up to what, 7 years old voted for that one album. And that crosses racial lines, age lines, gaps in generations. So at the end of the day, it's the music, right? It's not just
Absolutely.
the artist, it's everybody behind. Yes, Cardi B had a machine behind her as far as a team of people that
Absolutely.
supported her debut success. Absolutely. But there's no way that when they were crafting this album that she thought, and she would even tell you, ain't no way in hell she thought this was going to be the best selling female rap album in the last, coming, eight, what is this, 6 years later. She didn't know she was going to get 5 number ones. She didn't know she was going to sell 100 million records collectively off of one body of work. Lauren didn't even know she was going to have the greatest album of all time, meaning Michael Jackson's Thriller. And they're completely two different people. So,
And
I
I
mean,
hear you.
it's hard to call that. Like, yeah, I feel like, yeah, like, do I feel like, African American and minorities having more, if we're talking about, trajectory and the history of music, there are some have been disfranchised and less successful than some of their white counterparts. Sure. But then we
Mm.
have to dissect that on time and we have to make it kind of comparable. I mean, do traditionally
It's a
white
factor.
artists
That
sell
whole
more than
ambiguous
African
thing,
American
being able to
artists?
sell all
Yeah, at
over, it's a
times.
thing. It's a thing, but I think especially when you're talking about an artist like Lauryn Hill who put work in on that album, and sold pure sales in a completely different era. It's different. Like this whole streaming era and this whole like digital era, you can't even compare it to what they were doing back then because it's just completely different. And there's so many different factors that go into it than just saying like, oh, well, it is just the music. Like I said, I admitted before, I don't listen to her music, but at the same time, I would never compare her to like a Lauryn Hill. I would never compare her to a Nicki Minaj because, with Nicki, I was there in the beginning. I saw that grassroots movement. I wasn't a Barb or anything like that, but I was there from the beginning, and to see what she's done with all of that and to see how it grew and how organic and grassroots it was and to see what it became, there ain't no real comparison. So to think of just the whole, like I said before, this whole like cult personality, or not cult of personality, but personality era of like these artists or like all of that sort of stuff, the celebrity culture, the love and hip hop shit, the reality TV stuff, all of these things that come into how these artists are made and this whole machine is just, it's different. And I can't really stomach it because I absolutely appreciate an artist, somebody who actually got it out the mud, and maybe not even got it out the mud. Some artists had nepotism, but at the back in the day, but at the very least they had talent. So yeah, to compare artists to somebody who, for all intents and purposes, was made by the industry, I just don't know.
Well, I think there's different eras in time, right? You know, for a while it was Kim and Foxy, right? And then there was just moments where we were looking for that next big thing. Kim was still around, but then she went to jail. You know, Remy Ma had a minute and she went to jail, even though I love Remy Ma.
Remy
And then,
Ma.
and then Nicki Minaj came out, right? And she held the game for 10 years. But then guess what came after that? You know, it was set the rap game. Yeah, you had Iggy pop up, you know, a few other people pop up, but it was prison held for one girl for so long. I'm the Queen Dawn of rap and all. Okay, that's cool, right? But let's not forget, Cardi B broke that. Whether you want to say it's her team, it's her image, her personality, whatever the hell it happened in history, right? It's a fact that the energy was changing, right? It was time for something else. Every girl has their tenure. Every girl has their time. We talked about Brandy and how she owned the 90s. Everyone has their decade of time or whatever the case may be, however long they have, right? For whatever reason they have it, where they're that girl, they're that supreme, they're that main person. Cardi came in at 18, 17, kicked down that door, and look at all these other female rappers that have ushered in because of that peak of time and moment of history. So, you know, and it's not that artist's fault. It's not Nicki's fault that she peaked and she came in when she came in. It was the time. It was the time. Kim, it was the time. Queen Latifah, MC Light, all of them had an era of time where they were that next chosen one for whatever time it was. So yeah, I mean, some more talented than others, and we can debate that and talk about that at the end of the day. But I mean, what we can't do is negate success. Right? And so with that, I mean, yeah, we can argue who do we like better. We can argue who's the most talented. We can argue who writes more of their music. We can argue all of that. At the end of the day, the facts remain, right? In a moment of time, it's going to be somebody else. And I think the difference with Cardi when she came in, she was supported by the elders of female rap who were out way before Nicki. They were out Summer Jam in 2017, you had literally every female rapper that ever existed outside of Nicki Minaj coming together and ushering a new wave of talent. At that time, it was what's her name? Young MAA or,
Mm-hmm.
for the Bros Ho, or whatever her name, the lesbian.
That's how, yeah, younger man.
Her and then Cardi. They were both, but they were embracing the new era of people. And so I think that's just what it is. I mean,
That's
Cardi's not gung
sisterhood, though.
ho
That's
about these
different.
new girls that have come out after her. She's not saying she's not trying to hold a crown or a position. It's not about that. It's about embracing the next generation of talent and people. And that's what Cardi's done. And she's done it in so many ways to help so many other female rappers or you could say a new age of female rap, a new time and different. But I mean, she even got on an independent artist, a girl that was in Chicago, and then she blew up, right? It's been multiple people that she's ushered in after her. So whether it's personality, whether it's culture of today, whether it's lack of talent, whether it's the music, whether it's the era of people, there's a lot to that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's all I'm saying. I feel like it's and that's why people always kind of compare, Cardi. Well, she's no Nicki. She's no this. She doesn't have to be. She's Cardi B. They did the same thing to Rihanna. She's no Beyonce. But child, Rihanna is richer than all them girls on her own without a husband. You create your own path. You create your own wave. You create your own lane. And, whether you get help or not, or whatever the case may be, teams behind you, it just is what it is. And so I think the moment people just kind of accept, like, hey, you know, 10 years from now, it's going to be somebody else. It's just what it's going to be. It's just time.
I think Cardi B is extremely marketable, and I think to your point, you said before, she's chosen, she is chosen, and I think the people who chose her are using her, and making money off, and she's making her money, but I think when we start talking about these sort of, I guess, the greatest or she's breaking records and all of this sort of shit, it's like, thinking about the art form and where it started, which it didn't start with these people who are making these choices, these executives and these people who are marketing her and making money off of her. Like, this is a black art form that didn't start with her. So to use somebody like her who's ambiguous and extremely marketable, and I won't take anything away from her. She's winning, she's getting hers, at the end of the day it is what it is, but I think to compare her or to have her a part of a conversation in regards to this art form, and I'm speaking as an artist too, so maybe I don't think there's bias. I don't think I'm biased, but at the same time, I do appreciate an artist, and I know what it takes to create, and I know what it takes to strive towards something and really put everything into your art. So at the end of the day, I think comparing her to a person like a Nicki or Lauren or these people who come from these places and really invested into this art in a very different way and didn't have a machine like Cardi has, I think it's unfair. And I think, like I said before, all the factors in regards to the marketability all around the world in a very different way than a Lauren or
So
any of these other people. I think there's something to be said for that.
are you saying that Cardi got it easier because of her race? Is that what it is?
She's an ambiguous person. Like, she's going to be marketable in a very different way than a black woman. Like a dark-skinned black woman, brown-skinned dark woman around the world. Colorism, race, all of these things are factors.
That's true.
But that
Yeah,
has nothing to do with her. I mean, we saw her
I'm
hustle.
a back out of that because for me, I don't really like
So
to.
my grits is burning on the stove. I gotta go, y'all. Bye.
Not your grits. You cooking grits at this time of night?
Shantae's got a man over at 2 a.m. in Atlanta. Okay, heated.
I mean, are you gonna
Oh
make
my
some eggs
lord.
too, or just like stripping
Mm.
grits? Like, what's happening?
I don't even like grits. I was just kidding.
I was gonna say, who over there?
That damn Carrie, I tell you, but I don't know.
She's marketable
I mean, a lot of people are. I mean,
Mm.
you got Ice
in different
Spice.
ways.
You got Doja Cat. You got all these people who's marketable.
Ambiguous.
I mean, but I just don't like to say that she's getting this opportunity because of her complexion or her race. I mean, she started. She's
If
right.
Beyonce's dad can come out and say that was a factor in her success, I think it's fair to say that this is the thing.
Well, we saw her. We saw that she has. Everyone has a story, right? She was stripping. She was doing all of that, but her goal was to make music. We saw her hustle, her grind on love and hip hop, trying
Right.
to create music. And at the end of the day, I knew 80-year-old women that was singing "These Are Bloody Shoes." Okay, and she wrote that song, and that song is 12 times platinum. Who would have known? Who would have known? So like, I mean, it's crazy because like people like to kind of discredit and take away, but if she, and I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different variables here, right? But at the end of the day, I mean, who's to say that she didn't want it as bad as somebody else because she had more success, because she's mixed race or she's light skinned? That's not her fault. That's not her problem. She can't control who she was born to be.
Mm-hmm.
She had the hustle, right? She got on TV. She made her money before TV, then got on TV, and then capitalized on that and got a record deal. And her first song from that record deal, after her mixtapes, her first main single, is still it's the best selling rap song of all time now, with 12 times platinum with
I
Bodak
agree.
Yellow.
That's why I
Like,
said I'm
that's
not
not
taking
her
anything
fault.
from her. I'm not taking anything from her, but like I said, to compare her to and to have these conversations, like there's a lot of nuance in
We're
the
having the
conversation.
conversations because of the success and the stats, because
But I
those
don't
who
really
can't
think that.
engage,
And there's
those
an
are facts.
explanation
Yeah,
for the stats.
I
So to
don't.
compare to another artist who has a
I don't think.
completely different experience, it's not really fair.
But I don't think we were comparing. I think what we were stating was the fact that her album, like we've said, Lauryn Hill, because Lauryn Hill only had one album. That doesn't discredit their talent because they only have one album. So I think that's what we're trying to say. Like Lauren maybe only have one album, but she should have more Grammys. Or like Mariah Carey has 5 Grammys, she should have more Grammys. So that's what we're trying to compare it to. Where the fact that we're saying where the industry or certain people might not think this of that, but that does not discredit their talent because of what they released. I think that's what we're trying to say. I don't think we're trying to compare, them two together, if that makes sense.
Compared to other artists, or even talking about these sort of achievements, like in regards to sales and things like that, or, the first to do this and all of that. Like, it's not really a fair race.
I mean, if it's the fact and it's happened, then that's just what it is.
Yeah, I mean, we might not like it, but stats are stats. Records are meant to be broken. I mean, that's just gonna happen. I
I
don't know what
mean,
to say to that.
like just say for example, if we watch football and we have an all-time favorite quarterback,
We don't
and
watch football. We
well,
don't
I
watch
do,
football.
so I'm going to use that example.
What
I'm
the
going to use that as an example. So
yo?
if you have an all-time quarterback who broke a record, let's just say Dan Marino, and then somebody comes breaking behind him, like you can't like say, okay, we can compare them because it's at a different time and it's a different game. Like that's just what his talent is and how he broke the record. Like that's just happens. Shit's meant to be broken, even if it's a heart.
Yeah, but do the rules change? Do the rules change in basketball? I don't watch basketball.
Yeah, they do. They do. The rules change in every sport.
Hmm.
There's always new rules because of shit that happened.
Okay, so the rules
Hmm.
and the bar changes in basketball.
Basketball, football, tennis, NASCAR, soccer, volleyball, yeah, all of that.
Especially when you get a black person doing outbreaking the white people shit.
So is it less significant, I guess, in the regard to, like, say back in the day if things were different in basketball, like, and you had to do a certain thing to get whatever X, Y, and Z goal or whatever.
Hmm.
When the rules changed or whatever, and there was the goal of, I say, whatever trophy or whatever title or whatever, is it less significant because it wasn't as hard to get it, or there wasn't as much work that it took to get to that particular achievement?
Not necessarily because
No,
because even
it's they made the record and they were able to accomplish that. Whatever they accomplished in the time they were able to accomplish it, and the
because
Okay,
people
so the
that accomplished
significance is
it
still
did
the
not
same.
control that
some
time.
some people will say because like LeBron James has broke some Michael Jordan records, and some people will say that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. But the times that they did things were completely different. Like there are things that are now set in rules that are set now when LeBron is playing that were not here when Michael Jordan was playing. But he has broke those records. Things are more difficult now when it comes to the sport that they play. So it happens and rules continue to grow. Things continue to happen in that sport. So just like using it for example, if Cardi puts out stuff and like, for example, it's hard for her to release the second album, shit's different from 2018 when she put out her first album. Completely different.
But things normally get easier though.
What?
Somewhat easier.
How?
Yeah,
Where?
it
When?
does.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to be in your world.
Well, no, well, in terms of social media,
Uh,
when there wasn't no social media, it was kind of harder.
Streaming.
Yeah, and streaming and stuff like that.
we still don't know how that shit worked because I swear to God,
Okay.
that shit, we still don't know
Okay.
how that shit worked.
So, okay, to that analogy that we just made, like, say for instance, okay, with this whole payola thing, is it still as significant even though we know that, like, these labels and stuff are buying, like, these achievements and stuff?
Do we know that though? Do we?
That's
I
very
mean, these
subjective.
artists are
That's
talking
very
about it all the
very fucking
time.
subjective.
The artists may be talking about what's going on in their life, but does that mean that it's going on in everybody? Like,
I
I just
mean,
don't like
they
that. I
talk,
just don't
they
like that.
speaking on the industry and they saying that a lot of this shit is bought and paid for.
I don't know. I just think that people just
That's
need
why I don't
to.
watch, like, award shows and shit, like the Oscars and like all of this other shit. Like, it's all bought and paid for. These Grammys be bought and paid for, all this shit.